Hello and welcome to Win Some Loosemore. My name is Dieter and 2 or 3 times a year I take you through my top 10 games. This is a general list of all games I've ever played. Done 2 of these before so far. We're in early March, so it was about time for another one. If you saw the last one, you'll know a couple of things have dropped off and a few things have come back in. And then brand new things. So this isn't the ones that were here and now gone are now rubbish games. Other things have just taken their place. So Captain Sonar, which was my number 10 last time, is down at number 13. So not a lot has changed that much. It's just a few places from a new couple of games that have come in, but then within the top 10 there's been some change around. I've got one game that's now come back into the top 10 just because I've played it a bit more, remembered how much I liked it and put it back in. So I'll rattle through these quite quickly. I've done why I like videos for some of them, and so that will there'll be a link that appears on the screen at some point, so you can check out a little bit more if you want to know about them. Now there is a game that I added to this list in the last couple of days that I'm discounting for this video because I've only played it for the first time in the last week, and so it's not a tried and tested thing. That's Race for the Galaxy. I played it a couple of times at a game night, really enjoyed it, immediately then went and bought it, and so that's just arrived. So we'll play it more, and so I've disqualified it for this list right now because it's got that excitement of being brand new. It is on the list in the top 10, but I won't include it this time. So this is 11 through to 1 minus Race for the Galaxy, which is currently on my number 9, but we'll do the list as is. Now, number 10 for the purposes of this list is a game that was on the list last time. This is Seven Wonders Duel. This is a 2-player card, it's a type of drafting game where you're actually taking it from the table. A lot of other drafting games, you're passing hands of cards around and taking what you want from that. Everything's laid out on the table and you're taking it in turns, 2 players only, taking the cards you need to build your tableau. Now, I mentioned this last time, but this is a game that when I think about, or Kirsty and I sat there going, what should we play? It's not one that I immediately think of because we've played it a fair bit and I like trying out new things, but every time we play it, I played it with another friend recently, it's just very good. It's a nice mental challenge. It's got the 3 ways of winning, even though usually it's just end scoring. It can be military, it can be science. It does give you those options and just extra things to be aware about. So number 11, but for this purpose, number 10, is Seven Wonders Duel. Now, number 9 for this list is a game that was originally in the top 10 when I did it back last year at some point, May or June, whenever it was, and wasn't because other things had come in, and then I played it again a few times recently and just remembered how much I enjoy. Again, another 2-player only game. This is one called Lost Cities. This is a very simple game, really, of you draw a card and then you place a card. That's it. That's all you do. But there are these different locations. You're trying to build up numbers in order to have the most amount of points you can possibly score from that one, but each one starts as soon as you put a card down. It costs you 20 points to go on the expedition at all. So not only do you need to get at least 20 points there to score anything, but you can also do these wager cards to double, triple, quadruple your score depending on how many you lay down. And so there's that tension of all the cards are available to both of us, and so I would have to wait to put something down because I know my opponent wants it, and there's just that really nice tension. Kirsty and I have enjoyed this a lot. Very simple game. I recommend it highly. That's Lost Cities. Number 8 has dropped a little bit. This is more to do with lack of play than anything else, but this is Concordia. This was a little bit higher last time. This is basically Century Spice Road, the board game. It gives you just some more things to do, but it's got that whole your cards are the actions thing, and when you play the card you do the action, but you can't get them back. It's not an action selection thing like Race for the Galaxy. Once it's down, you've played that action, and then there is a card to get all your cards back, and that's the action you take. You can get a bonus for how many you draw back. But it's just a really simple game, really, mechanically, of just exploring and building colonies in different territories. either in Italy or the Roman Empire, depending on which side of the board you're playing, depending on how many players you've got. It looks nice building up your, the different colours are building up their little empires across the board. It's just a very simple thing, that card. The scoring, a little more complex at the end, but once you get the hang of what each category of scoring requires, it's just a really fun game. It's generally well regarded, despite how boring the box looks, and to explain it doesn't look that interesting, but it's fast to play. On your turn, I mean, you just play that card and you do that, and you can buy new cards to make your hand better, to make those actions better. Yeah, just a good game of resource management, taking over the map kind of thing. That's Concordia, number 7, I think was number 7 last time. Another 2-player only game, the second last 2-player only game. This is Targhee. A very clever take on worker placement, where the cards, you've got a little grid of cards where you place your workers on the outside, and not only do you get the action of the outside, but where those workers intersect across the 2 axes, you get that action as well. So it's just a really fun tension of blocking each other off, or not being able to go where the robber is, who is also the turn marker. So each time an action can't be taken. Very clever little game. Really pleased to have it. It's small. It's just one of the little Cosmos boxes. Let me just grab it a sec. So it's a small little box, small little package. This is all it is. 2-player only, and yet it's like an hour-long game. It's a proper, some depth to it, some complexity to it, some. If I go here, that then blocks off what they want to do. So there's a lot of interaction in that sense. You're not necessarily attacking the other person or interacting that way, but what I do impacts the choices the other person has, and vice versa. So just a really strong 2-player only game. That's Targhee. Number 6, again, possibly still in the same place as it was, I'd need to go back and check, is the Lord of the Rings, the living card game. I've had an additional couple of packs since the last time I did this video, with new missions in, new cards. I still enjoy that whole process of constructing the decks. That's something I grew up really enjoying from kind of the Yu-Gi-Oh kind of background. I was never very good at it, and I'm still not very good at it. I think the first mission that comes in the base game for Lord of the Rings, I can do most times, but it's designed to be simple. The first extra pack I bought, the Hunt for Gollum, I can do that just about. The other ones, I don't think I've won any of them. And that, again, is a mark for me of a good game, is I can lose, I can be relatively bad at it, but still have a great time doing it. I really, having played it more now, got my head around most of the mechanics, and so it's a very smooth experience for me. I do this mostly on my own. It works well as 2, and if you've got enough cards, you can do 3 and 4 player as well, but I do it predominantly as a solo play, and just really enjoy, because I enjoy the mythos anyway, the world that Tolkien created, and so it explores more of that rather than the novels themselves, although those packs exist. I haven't gotten into those at this point, but really enjoy it. Really clever system, clever game, and appeals to my love of the world. Number 5 has dropped. This for a long time was my number 2 game. Now partly, again, this is lack of play. Partly this is I've played other things more and grown to like them more. There's new things come in. This is Century Spice Road. As I said, it's very much like Concordia in some of how it works, but it's only doing like a third of the things Concordia does. And while that sounds like a bad thing, for us, it's a brilliant thing. It's 2 to 5 player. It's really fast. We enjoy it at, well, I enjoy it at all the different player counts. You're just using your cards for actions. You only start with a couple, and then you buy and build more, and you can take cards, and you have more and more actions to complete different contracts, I suppose is the word. It's basically turning in different color cubes, which should be dull. But the cards are nice. The art, it's okay. Be nice to have more of it. But it just works really well, really smoothly. Enjoyed it 2, enjoyed it 3, 4, enjoyed it 5. We tried it at all of them. Really enjoy it. Very simple, very fast. Great game, Century Spice Road. Number 4 is the only new one to the list, brand new. It's in the top 10. If you've watched any of our other videos, you'll probably be able to guess that this would be in my top 10. This is Keyforge. This was my big love of last year. Towards the end of last year, this came out. This is the last 2-player only game where I have a unique deck. You have a unique deck. The ones that we have just do not exist anywhere else in the world. They have a pool of cards that the computers generate these lists of cards. Very clever. The gameplay is just really smooth, really fun for me. The amount of times Kirsty's walked in, coming home from work or something, and I've got out the big player mat and just playing both hands against myself because I just like the system. I just like playing, and because the decks are unique, each combination of this versus this fascinates me as to who's going to win. What tactics do I use within this particular game? It's a really clever thing of make the best out of what you've got. You can't strategize. It's not like Lord of the Rings card game where you construct the deck first to meet a specific challenge. You've just got the same 36 cards no matter who you're playing or what deck you're playing, and you just need to do your best out of that, and that fascinates me. That's really cool. They've announced the second set that's coming out. It should be end of May, so that will add some new cards into what's going in as well. So I'm excited to see where it goes, but this is just probably the game I'm most excited about right now, one of the newer ones to me. But number 4 is Keyforge. Number 3 has gone up a couple of spaces. This is just because it's brilliant, and at different player counts we've got an expansion for it over Christmas, so it just, as the initial races and things get tired, it just refreshes things, adds more variability to those combinations. This is Small World, where you'll see that combination of a mythical race or fantasy race, whatever, and then a power that it has, and they're 2 separate things. And so each game you're going to see different combinations. I say adding that expansion just multiplies the possibilities by quite a lot, and it's just fun, silly, you know. Dudes on a map is usually the phrase people use, like Risk, but that's dense and dry. This is silly and fun, and is just a really cool game, really excellent kind of next step game. But you can teach it as Gateway because it's that fun, because the theme is so silly, the artwork is appropriate. It comes with different boards for different player counts. It's just a very clever idea. So Small World, excellent. I have a great time teaching it. I have a great time playing it with people that know it. Again, don't often win, but that's okay. Small World, number 3. Number 2, up 1 place because I've played this more. This is the Seventh Continent. This game is great. I've been playing it more as solo, and I'm having an equally good time as I did playing it in 2-player. But I tried out a couple of the newer, well, they're not new, they still come in the base box, but we'd been slogging away at this one curse for ages, one storyline. And so I've decided just to sit down and try a couple of the others. Didn't get very far in terms of the progress within what you're supposed to do, but I achieved stuff and discovered new things and found new combinations of kind of items and how things work. And so it's just really clever, really fun for me. Really cool game. It's exciting discovering all the stuff. The expansion still has not arrived, as ever, Kirsty's phone. The expansion still hasn't arrived. That will come whenever. I'm sure it will come one day, so I'll have even more content to play with, which will make it even more exciting trying things out. I've tried new characters and gone, oh wow, I can see how their special abilities work in these situations. And yeah, no matter how much I play it, I'm still discovering things, still figuring stuff out, which is just a fun process for me. Which leaves only number 1. Again, if you've watched the previous ones of these or heard me talking about any kind of games that I like, this is one that comes up. This is Scythe. This is from Stonemaier Games, who are still just producing excellent games. We recently got Wingspan. Production's incredible. Between Two Castles has quickly become one of our favorite games to play and to teach new people. Stonemaier just create some really cool games. And for me, Scythe is the best of them, and for me currently is the best game that we own or that I've ever played. It's very simple in what you're physically doing. You just put your marker, I suppose, not even a real worker, on a spot, and you do all the actions on that spot, or as many of them as you can. And you've only got, to begin with, only 4 spots. There's a possibility of a 5th, and it's just figuring out that puzzle. You can't do the same one twice unless you have the special power which does that, and you're doing complex things on the board. There's this really cool big map, and there's different goals to try and achieve, and first to achieve 6 of them wins the game, and then you count, well, ends the game rather, and then you count up different things. So it looks complex, but in action it's just really simple, really good. And then it's got a whole engine building aspect of, one of the actions is upgrades. There's cubes covering up better versions of the actions, and they come down, which make other actions cheaper. And so there's this double layer of engine building, making your board better whilst affecting what's going on. It's a cool looking world. It's a cool world with Rise of Fenris. You get to explore that a little bit more with the campaign that we're still working through. We still want to get through it, but I get too excited about new things and get distracted, but we will complete that when we can. So yeah, a few things that were on the list. As I say, Captain Sonar is now 13, Carcassonne City is just 12, Seven Wonders Duel currently 11, because Race for the Galaxy may or may not stick around where it is now, or go higher or go lower, who knows. So some variation, but that's just from new things. Keyforge is the big new entry that may climb with this new set, who knows. But I will do another one of these in a few months, once I've had a chance to find new things and just play some of our games that I don't play so much, try and bring them up, or just play more and more of these. Scythe is still our most played game because of how much I love it. So yeah, that's my top 10 as it is right now. Let me know in the comments below what games you're enjoying right now. Maybe your top 10, or just top couple, or here's a new one that I'm really enjoying. Whatever it is, do note it down underneath. Thank you very much for watching. You can follow us on the various social media platforms. We have a page on Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter at WSomeElmore. You can subscribe to this channel if you don't already, and hit the bell icon so you stay updated whereas we put out new videos. I have been Dieter for Win Some Loosemore. Goodbye.